Donald Trump wants the public to believe that his return to power is inevitable. And unfortunately, too many people and institutions have fallen for that narrative. Major networks like ABC reportedly gave him a massive platform, while others in media, academia, and law have often hesitated to challenge him directly. But here's the truth. Donald Trump is not untouchable. He's struggling in the courts, and his public approval continues to slip. And tomorrow, that reality will be front and center as people gather for No King's Day, a movement built around accountability and democracy. It's no surprise, then, that Trump recently posted a statement online that many are calling unhinged. And shortly after, he was even rushed away from an event. We'll break all of that down in just a moment. But before we do, if you'd like to support independent coverage like this, please take a quick second to like this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue our work. Now, before we get to Trump's online post and that viral video, let's begin with what Senator Chris Murphy had to say about the false narratives that the MAGA movement continues to spread about Democrats.
So the big No Kings protest is coming up on Saturday. This is a really important day. It's a day for this country to stand up and say that we've had enough with the destruction of democracy, the building of Trump's censorship state, the evisceration of our healthcare. But it's pretty incredible how Republicans are showing their true colors. They're showing us how much they hate democracy. They're showing us how much they hate free speech. The rhetoric has ramped up from Republican leaders in the last few days. These aren't sort of fringe actors in the conservative movement. These are the leaders of the House Republican Conference calling the protesters that are going to show up on Saturday terrorists, saying that No Kings is a hate rally. What Republicans are basically telling you is that they hate free speech. They hate free speech when it isn't conservative speech, when it isn't pro-Trump speech. If you offer any criticism of this government, then you hate America. That's ridiculous, un-American, and unpatriotic. The fact is, our country was founded on the idea that everyone has a right, a God-given right, a constitutionally protected right to speak up and protest your government, especially when you think they have become lawless and corrupt. And so the idea that the people who are showing up to protest Trump are terrorists, trying to get you to stay home. They're trying to get you to believe that simply by peacefully protesting your government, you're inciting violence. That is, of course, not true, but their tactics will work if we don't show up. Their tactics will end up in our democracy being destroyed if, by labeling you as terrorists, we decide to stay indoors. And so let's be there. Let's be there peacefully but forcefully protesting Trump's corruption. Let's show up in big numbers, whether it be at the rally in Washington, D.C. or at rallies all across this country. This is important. You don't back down when bullies try to silence you. You stand up and you speak up.
Now, I've heard a lot of people talking about the response that we've seen from the right to No King's Day. And the line that sticks out to me, kind of that has fallen through the cracks, is Scott Bessent saying, no kings means no paycheck, saying that our protest is the reason that the government isn't open, which doesn't actually make a lot of sense. That's the most ridiculous lie. But the most targeted lie is that these protests are being funded by George Soros, that they are being put together by Antifa, that the people out there, Carolyn Leavitt said, are criminals. Do you know why they're saying that? They're saying that to incite violence. Donald Trump has energized and engaged and excused the political violence that is carried out not only by his state militia in the form of ICE, people who have basically sworn an oath to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump alone, but his goons, his stooges, the Stand Back and Stand By Proud Boys. Donald Trump has told those people, if you commit political violence for him on his behalf and you think it's serving America to be a disgusting white supremacist, he will pardon you, he will protect you, and he will uplift you. So, don't you think that Donald Trump is sending a very clear message that he wants to intimidate us and try to incite the very violence that he says the left is responsible for? Of course, Donald Trump will back up the criminals. And before we get into the post he made about no kings, I want to start with a post he made doing exactly that, backing up a criminal. Donald Trump just announced on Truth Social that George Santos, Santos, who he called somewhat of a rogue, saying that there are many rogues throughout our country that aren't forced to serve 7 years in prison, will be getting a full commutation, and that he is releasing George Santos from prison immediately, wishing him good luck with the rest of his life. If you commit crimes for Donald Trump, on behalf of Donald Trump, if you pledge loyalty to Donald Trump will back you up. He's doing it with George Santos. He did it on the first day that he was in office, signing pardons for every single one of those 1,500 cop-beating insurrectionists. Why do you think he called on Bibi Netanyahu to receive a pardon? Because Donald Trump backs up criminals. Those are his buddies. You're talking about Epstein. You're talking about Netanyahu. You're talking about Elon Musk. The people closest to Donald Trump are the disgusting criminals like him, and he does not like for that to be pointed out, which is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And it is why this went up on one of Donald Trump's social media feeds. The post on Donald Trump's community on Twitter reads, "No kings, but put on your mask until we say you can take it off. No kings, but stay in your home until we say you can leave. No kings, but shut down business until everyone says we can open. No kings, but you're fired for not getting vaccinated." And it continues in weird ways like this. So Donald Trump is saying that liberals are overreacting, saying that Donald Trump is a wannabe king, a wannabe dictator. He's imposing upon your freedoms, but that's not the case, is what Trump's saying. The real person who was imposing upon your freedoms, making your life worse, is whoever was president during CO. And who could have that been? Who was president during COVID? It was you. Like, are you serious? It wasn't Joe Biden during shutdowns. It wasn't Joe Biden who saw the vaccine created under his administration. Donald Trump takes credit for Operation Warp Speed, and he's saying the vaccine is a bad thing. He just got his booster. Like, this is insane. But it did not stop there, because the weakest president in history not only is freaking out over No King's Day, but he literally cannot be here for it. Be so scared. The public schedule for Donald Trump shows that today at 5:25, he will be arriving in Palm Beach, Florida, and at 3, he departed the White House.
I met with President Zelensky, as you know, today, and we had a very good meeting, very cordial meeting. In my opinion, they should stop the war immediately. You go by the battle line wherever it is, otherwise it's too complicated. You'll never be able to figure it out. You stop at the battle line, and both sides should go home, go to their families, stop the killing, and that should be it. Stop right now at the battle line. I told that to President Zelensky. I told it to President Putin. Thank you very much, everybody.
So, there's Donald Trump, leaving Washington, clearly avoiding the No Kings protest and retreating to Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't want the noise, the criticism, or the reminder that people are standing up to him. While he's out playing golf, the movement is growing, and the truth is catching up with him. He continues to talk about how President Putin and President Zelensky should figure things out, even though he once promised that he alone could end the war. What we're seeing now is not strength, it's insecurity. It's the image of a leader who is losing ground and losing support everywhere he turns. And that's why Donald Trump keeps trying to protect and pardon some of his closest allies, no matter their controversies or criminal cases. If everything were truly going well for him, if he were really dominating in the polls, would he be offering those kinds of pardons? Of course not. Let's be real. Some of these figures will end up being promoted by right-wing billionaires, given podcast platforms, and pushed by certain media algorithms. They'll repeat the same talking points, painting Trump as a victim while ignoring the real victims, the people who were deceived, misled, or harmed by corruption and broken promises. The truth is, the system is broken, but not in the way they claim. It's broken for powerful figures who face no accountability. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans struggle with medical debt, student loans, and economic hardship, while our tax dollars continue to fund conflicts overseas. When students or citizens peacefully speak out about these issues, this administration tries to silence them. That's not freedom. That's an attack on free expression. Republican leaders love to say they're the victims of cancel culture. But what we're seeing is selective outrage. When someone faces consequences for displaying hateful symbols, they call it censorship. Yet when dissenting voices are punished, they're silent. This isn't about left versus right anymore. It's about truth versus manipulation. And the same people calling themselves defenders of liberty are the ones trying to limit it. Now let's talk about that idea of bipartisanship. Congressman Tim Burchett recently said that politics used to be friendlier. You could debate all day, then still grab a drink together. And sure, that might sound nice. But what does it matter if politicians are getting along while people's lives aren't improving? I don't want politicians bonding over drinks. I want them solving problems, helping families, expanding healthcare, lowering costs, and building a fairer country. Unity means nothing if it comes at the expense of progress. So no, I don't long for the old days of political handshakes and hollow smiles. I want action. I want accountability. And that's not going to happen if we keep pretending that everything's fine. If you're angry, you're not alone. Channel that energy. Join others tomorrow for No King's Day. Stand together, speak truth to power, and demand better. As always, if you support what we're doing, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.